Okay, guys. So this is kind of the crown jewel of our Catalyst community, and it is all centered around the capacity pyramid. And you could see here the visual we have. Um, the idea, the way this came to be, is because we saw a huge issue with entrepreneurs, real estate agents that were breaking down. And what we have found is it's a very lofty, broad goal of just becoming a more successful entrepreneur. I mean, what does it mean? What are the stages? And we realized that there was a trend of where people were actually starting to break down. So when we meet with somebody to talk about their business, again, whether it's real estate or otherwise, we break it down into this pyramid, and it makes it almost a gamified way to keep improving. So a lot of times we see almost a disappointed look because they immediately are looking towards, their productivity or their leverage. And we find that when we start them at the really, really base building block of the pyramid, they're a little taken aback. So let's talk about it first. Fitness is the most important foundation of everything we do here. And the reason is because we found that a lot of times people will start at a moderate, maybe below average fitness level. And by the way, fitness is constituted of your habits, your sleep, your recovery, your nutrition, your body movement. That is a huge part of the entrepreneur because guess what? It all starts and stops with you, and you are your biggest investment. When and if you break down, whether you break a leg, you get injured, you get sick, everything tends to stop or at least start to slow down and fall apart. So fitness is the number one thing that we are always going to start people on here. Again, they tend to be a little disappointed to see fitness, but once they've taken that seriously, a lot of other things will start to fall into place. So fitness, number one. Number two is purpose. Now, this could mean a lot of things. Many entrepreneurs, because you are the CEO, you're the COO, you're the marketing person, you're everything, it is really easy to lose sight of what your North Star is. So when we sit down with an entrepreneur and we've gotten their fitness at least at a moderate level, we move back up to purpose. Most entrepreneurs have suffered from what's known as drift. Drift is the ever so slight swaying from your goal, from your big why. And to have to reiterate what that is a really important thing. And again, if you're starting off or we're going through this pyramid for the first time, this is going to be a fairly straightforward approach because you're probably not that far away from when you first started. But again, we want to make sure that we put this in black and white, really clear that your purpose is in writing and it's crystal clear for everybody. Finally, when your fitness is in order and you have your purpose, your big why, your goals, or everything is aligned up, then we start talking about your productivity. Because again, we know that the market shifts, entrepreneurs get burnt out. And if you don't have a strong foundation in your health and your wellness and your fitness, and you don't have the strong why, then the how starts to become really difficult. So the quote that I love is, when your why is in line, you can figure out almost any how. So that's where productivity finally gets into play. And that is putting you on whatever business tracker we need to. My fellow real estate agents, we put them on a 135 or a 411. We start tracking things. We start to get brutal with accountability with our clients. Now, once productivity, which by the way, will probably be here for quite a while, as a lot of entrepreneurs want us to, then the next step is leverage. Now, the irony of this is most people do this in backwards order. Most entrepreneurs, especially, you guys are big thinkers, right? You're macro thinkers. So you immediately are going into systems and leverage and how can you make your optimization. The issue is, and we found this to be true, especially in our lovely AI age, is the worst thing you could do, and this quote is stolen from Elon Musk, the worst thing you can do is optimize and highly leverage a system that should not even exist. And the truth of the matter is, how can you know if a system should exist if your productivity is out of whack or your purpose is out of whack? Okay, so notice how this is a proper order of the entrepreneur growing. So leverage, we're going to see lots of opportunities here, whether that's putting SOPs in order, that's a really starting point, putting models and systems, putting in artificial intelligence, AI, figuring out how we can build out custom chat GPT bots for our clients is another big one. Automations, a lot of times this may involve your very first hire, whether it's an in-person hire or a virtual assistant hire, but leverage is going to be the final peak that we get to. Now, so we got to leverage. Now, the idea behind the capacity pyramid is, as you have improved all of these stages, now your capacity has grown to take on even more. So the beauty of this system is, now what we would do is we would go back to the bottom. We would start over, because capacity, as you can see, your capacity increases vertically. Okay, that's what we're aiming for. But like any pyramid that we all know, the stronger this pyramid is, the wider of a base, and I'm actually going to draw off of the screen a little bit, the wider the base can go. And your capacity has now widened at the base, and we're going to go back up to the top. So we will revisit your fitness, because this may come as a shocker, as highly leveraged and the higher producing entrepreneurs, as higher producing as they become, guess what starts to crumble right beneath them? Is the fitness. I cannot tell you how many entrepreneurs we see that their productivity is finally at where they want it to be. They're finally exploring leverage, and they are eating absolute garbage. They're starting to get sick. They're starting to get sluggish, and the base of the pyramid starts to crumble. So we will revisit the fitness. We'll come back down to the bottom. And to be honest, we're going to see if we can optimize that yet again. That could mean getting a personal trainer. It could mean tracking your macros even that much closer. It could mean any number of things, but we're going to see how we can up your fitness level yet again. Instilling new habits. During this entire journey, the first time through, some new pain points probably came up, and it's time to instill new habits to support those pain points. Next thing, and this is where things start to change, your purpose may have evolved. Now, I don't mean your big why. Your big why, for the most part, is going to remain, but the purpose of your business may change. And we know this to be true, that as entrepreneurs grow, they start to get exposed to new spheres, new opportunities that may resonate with them. I know lots of entrepreneurs that started off in the fitness space, group coaching or one-on-one coaching. And as they got successful, they started exploring other avenues that they really found was their real purpose. So revisiting the purpose, seeing if there's any other directions that we need to go. Next up, we go to productivity. If your fitness is now leveled up and your purpose is now widened or even more laser focused, we are going to look for how our productivity can now increase as well. So this may be, we are on year 2, and now your 5-year goal is right around the corner. So let's see what productivity we need to get in order. Now, mind you, if you're in real estate, this is a really straightforward one where you may need to increase your lead sources. You may need to start delegating, and that goes into leverage, but you may need to start exploring how you can utilize different lead sources, different conversion rates. Maybe you just need to increase your pipeline. What are your conversion rates? So productivity is going to be a big one. We'll also start looking at your profit margin. Are you operating at a 40% profit, which is really tough to do, but that's the gold standard. Finally, your fitness is increased, or at least to support your business. Your purpose is refocused. Your productivity, again, we'll spend a lot of time here. Your productivity is increased. Now, what ends up happening with a lot of entrepreneurs is, as their productivity increases, they do not increase their leverage. So guess what happens? They get burnt out. And if an entrepreneur gets burnt out from their increased productivity and they're not leveraging, guess what starts to crumble right beneath them? Their health. Okay. So trying to avoid that, we are going to talk about your leverage and how the leverage is going to need to increase with you. Okay. So maybe, I mean, I don't want to even guess where your business would be at this point, but are we doing more work for a little bit more money? Or can we somehow figure out how to dial into your 20%, do less, but more important work while keeping your productivity high? So leverage is going to be a key part there. Now, guess what happens when we finish the second time through the pyramid, which, by the way, this isn't like a 1 week at each stage. This is a continual growth. This sums up the entire entrepreneur's journey. This is never done. And does not matter how many times you will have gone through this pyramid, it will continue evolving. So once our leverage is up there and we feel good about it, we go back down and we say, okay, back down to the fitness. How can we increase? Because guess what? Our capacity just increased all the more. It's a wider base. Our capacity is now even higher. So let's revisit this pyramid and let's see yet again, how can an increased fitness, habits, rest is going to start to become more and more important. Don't overlook the mindset. I mean, do you need additional getaways so that you don't get burnt out? And then we're going to refocus on the purpose. So, and we're going to go through this over and over and over again. What we have found is 9 times out of 10, when we see a burnt out entrepreneur, they are breaking one of these rules. And a lot of times, the irony of this is you will see an upside down pyramid where this person has put leverage at the very tip top. They're all about leverage. I'll just put LEV. Man, that's a tough writing. Sorry, guys. LEV. So they're all about leverage. They're all about tactics and tricks. But deep down below, their fitness is crumbling. They're falling apart. And that's where burnout starts to happen. Or yet again, let's pretend that their productivity is skyrocketing. Great. So this random middle part of the pyramid is huge, but they've lost track of their big why, their purpose. Why are they doing what they're doing? Maybe they're not leveraging it. And they're definitely not supporting that on a health and wellness standpoint. So as we go through the courses here at Catalyst, we will be teaching on various topics. So there may be one day where we're teaching on purpose. Everybody's coming from a different walk, a different stage, and we're going to talk about purpose, productivity. We're going to talk about leverage. We're going to talk about fitness. So any given week, we will be talking about different parts of this pyramid, but this is the entrepreneur's journey, their entire roadmap in one image. And our job as your coach is to figure out which of these is broken, how can we optimize it, and then once we get to a high leverage point, how can we go back to the bottom and increase that pyramid's base, which is the capacity, so that you can increase your capacity as an entrepreneur. So this is the capacity pyramid. I hope this made sense. For me, this was a big aha when I realized that this is what a lot of people were missing, is some type of clear visual of why they were feeling the way they felt or why they were failing at certain points of their business. So write this down, take a screenshot, and just understand in the Catalyst community, we're going to live by this pyramid.